Travis Wayne Goodsell. As I cater my topics and thus the channel titles to draw attention to Mormons, there have been over the years a number of Mormons from the community of Christ who have commented every so often. As of lately, that has increased. The majority of those from the community of Christ, however, are wanting to flex their muscle as the true church of Joseph Smith. And I forgot to put in the the previous video I did, I mentioned in the video that I would put in a little video segment I did if I remembered, and I didn't remember, and now I remembered that I didn't remember. But the majority of them attack to come onto my channel to say that the community of Christ are the true and only true church on the face of the earth. And that's fine if they want to think that, but don't go attacking other people's channels. There is, however, one woman who has been responding as of late, and because she's identified herself as Community of Christ, I'm able to speak with that understanding in mind, so that I don't say the church, the LDS church, when she also believes she's the LDS church when I'm talking about the Brighamite Church. And so I have to speak in terms of the Brighamite Church versus Community of Christ to make the distinction. For everybody's information, I didn't start actually researching church history until the end of 2017, when can't remember his first name. I always call him. He used to be a bishop here, and so Bishop Blunt has always been the title. Yeah, my neighbor was in Sunday school and said, "Hey, did you know Joseph Smith had a gun in Carthage jail?" And I went, "Why, yes, I did. My third great grandfather had that gun." And he said, "Did you know he had two guns?" No. I wonder which one was my third great grandfather's. And so that's what got started with that. And at that same time period, I was also doing videos in preparation for the upcoming Old Testament Sunday school year, and was publishing books in advance of of each lesson, and was tailoring the books to be like the lesson manuals, and in essence correcting them. And so the bishop, Reed Hammond, at that time, said, "I don't want you posting online that the Book of Mormon is the official doctrine of the church regarding the fall of Adam." That was the video, and that was the publication. It was volume 4. I can't find it when I Google search it myself. Amazon, their analytical program is so screwed up that I can't find myself in there. So it's just sad. But yeah, that Bishop Hammond said, "Why do you bother coming to church?" Excuse me? Excuse me? And so he's the one to blame for why I'm now officially an LDS critic in all my videos, whereas prior to that, I was pretty much condemning Mormons for their bad behavior. Because by doing actual church history research, I found out the truth. Uh-oh. See, if they had just left me alone, let me do my thing, everything would be fine. But the church itself went after me when I came to them saying Joseph was a translator, and then Bishop Hammond when I came out with Volume 4 of that series. And so, I mean, guys, you need to learn from history. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That's the reason why, is because by keeping them close, you can deceive them into thinking you're their friend. We're your friends, don't run. Zap, zap. If you've seen Mars Attacks. So, as I'm speaking with this lady from the community of Christ, she expresses her frustration and disappointment and possibly anger that the Brighamite Church is claiming on the Wikipedia pages, because they're the dominant ones on Wikipedia, the Church of Christ are not getting their say into the matter. And so when it comes to Joseph Smith, Wikipedia says that his first wife is Emma. And if you don't know original church history, real church history, Joseph was not a polygamist. That was the Brighamites who set him up, who altered documentations after he died. All the women that were supposedly married to Joseph were done so as part of the extortion threat to get them to come out to Salt Lake Valley as they fled the country. Women do not have the rights, liberties, freedoms, justices that women have better today. I can't say have today because it's clear they don't still, but it's better. Little girls can grow up and go to school equal with boys. They have an equal opportunity, although if you're in the poor neighborhoods, you have the poorer schools, whereas if you're in the richer neighborhoods, you have the richer schools. But according to your economic status, you're still equal in regards to the sexes at the unequal levels. But back in the early 1800s, that was not the case. I mean, yes, we can watch Little House on the Prairie, but the church has wanted to emphasize, as well as the state of Utah, that for this election, all of a sudden they found out that the first female in America to vote was a Mormon, was a Utahn, and it was still after. Hold on, let me get the date. First woman to vote in the United States. Okay, I'm not going to find it there. Let's go back to Utah again. First woman to vote in Utah. Okay, yeah, this is 1870. Okay, so the women's suffrage movement was prior to. So it's Utah, not United States Mormons. Yeah. And then they throw in the Edmunds-Tucker Act. Click on the Edmunds-Tucker Act, Mormons. Don't just read Wikipedia and go, that's so great, the church is true. Click on Edmunds-Tucker Act. No, it's a trap. He's trying to destroy the church. But yeah, the reason why women were finally allowed to vote was because of the federal government of the United States passing the Women's Suffrage Act, or allowing women's suffrage. And so only Wyoming granted suffrage to women earlier than Utah. Utah women were the first women to cast ballots in the United States after the start of the suffrage movement. Okay, so technically I guess they were the first women to vote, but it's all right there when the church is hammering down on them to stop polygamy. So why does Brigham Young, because he's still alive at this time, in 1870, but yeah, why? Think about it, Mormons. Why? To help swing the vote in regards to the Edmunds-Tucker Act, to prevent it from occurring, so that they can continue to practice human sex trafficking and sex slavery. That's what it is. Only in an emergency situation where all human life are gone except for one man and a number of women is polygamy acceptable. Otherwise, there is no excuse. Anyway, so this Community of Christ member is upset that the church has domination over Wikipedia's information. As the church claims, they have the documents. Oh, see, here it is. Joseph was sealed to these women. Therefore, Emma was the first. And the Community of Christ is like, well, excuse me? Emma herself is our founder. And she had nothing to do with polygamy. And so, yeah, that's a conflict that Brighamites do not understand. And that's just one of them. And I had to condemn another Community of Christer when he tried to pull the stunt of, we're the only true church through Joseph Smith, the true prophet and seer. So I threw back in his face section 107 verse 22, as I also notified him that I understood that his Doctrine and Covenants is different than ours, because theirs follows the 1835 version, and as a result they didn't get the one that was published right after Joseph's assassination. And so all they have to go on is the 1835 version. So any of the stuff that happened in 1838 and 39 and 42 and etc., none of that was included in their version, which was the 1835 version. And so they didn't claim anything that Brigham Young did with the 1844 version, as you have to pay attention as to what they changed in the 1844 version from the 1835 version, and what is actually confirmed in other sources as having been given by Joseph Smith, such as the Times and Seasons. If you can find it in the Times and Seasons, great. Like section 85, you can find that in the Times and Seasons. But section 134, or 32, sorry, you can't find that. That just all of a sudden appears the year before Brigham dies in that edition, along with section 85. You've got to pay very close attention and not assume that what you are seeing is the reality. And you can't just claim, well, I believe it, therefore it's true. That doesn't work for an argument. You have to have physical evidence, physical results, physical consequences of your belief to show. And you can't do self-fulfilling prophecies. You can't say, oh, the Book of Mormon's true, and then manufacture golden plates and say, oh, here it is, it's true. And the translation is of the Book of Mormon, obviously, because you're first going to get assaulted by those who know that Joseph Smith's original Book of Mormon in 1830 is not the same that we have in the Brighamite Church. There's a lot of differences. And Brigham Young tried to pull an edited version during Joseph Smith's tenure, of which Joseph Smith found out and said, oh, hell no, put it back. The original is what we're keeping. And that should give a clue to everyone, regardless of which branch off you're from. The original 1830 must be adopted. No editings, none of the current Brigham Young version. Another testament of Jesus Christ. No, it's not, Benson. And so that's something you got to pay attention to as well when you're doing history research. But again, as Mormons, I just assumed that the current Book of Mormon I have was the exact same Book of Mormon Joseph Smith had. That's how they deceived us. That the Doctrine and Covenants that we have, it's all from Joseph, because section 132 says in the chapter heading that Bruce R. McConkie put in, okay, this is Joseph's, and it was known since 1832. Okay, why would they lie? I can give you a billion reasons why they would lie. And so today is conference in 2 more hours, and today is the sign of the fall of the church, as I did a last-minute video edition supplement about Ishtar, Esther, Purim, the lion, the witch, and the wardrobe for you as the sign in the heavens today. So, and then a bombshell at the end. Those who are loyal listeners get rewarded. So, yes, the Son of Man, who Joseph Smith said will be a Mormon to restore his church, as he had tried to restore the ancient Egyptian church. Yes, Mormons, Brighamite Mormons, Community of Christ Mormons even, Joseph Smith intended to restore the Egyptian religion, not the New Testament gospel religion. Where'd you get that from? Oh, right, evangelicals that you've been smoozing with since the early 1900s and transforming Mormonism into a Christian religion after you've gotten out of your debts from the Edmunds-Tucker Act. Nope, stay away from it. Don't go there, Mormons. Evil! Evil! See, Mormons can't do this. Right? They did it on the Vatican Temple. The doors of the Vatican Temple specifically have a cross. So, yeah, that's the thing that Mormons just don't get. As my ex that I called on our ex anniversary the other day, she cannot comprehend it, and she gets upset. Literally, she goes into a frenzy of fury and starts making all sorts of accusations against me, when all I'm doing is saying, hey, Joseph Smith is true, Book of Mormon is true, Brigham Young was the most evil, vile person on the face of the earth. I'm not saying she's evil. I'm not saying she's dumb, stupid, and all sorts of ad hominems, of which Judge Waddups needs to understand the difference. But that's how Mormons respond when people say truth about the history of their own church. Mormons, Brighamite Mormons, can't handle it. It freaks them out. It infuriates them inside. And who's the source of that, Mormons? Oh, right, the God you worship on the carving of the keystone of the ark of the door of the Salt Lake Temple. And also on the foundation of the keystone on the Eagle Gate. So that's what Mormons are not getting. When I call you ignorant, there's a reason. I'm one of you. I was taught to be ignorant. But I, being raised by strict Mormon parents, rebelled, and thus became a critic at a very young age. Even though I still thought the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, centered in Salt Lake City, Utah, was true. But over time, all these little contradictions, shall we say, stumbling blocks might be a better word. And remember, whosoever causeth my little ones to stumble, the incorrect translation is be offended, it is better that a millstone will be hung around their neck. The leaders of the church have caused not just the little ones in the church, but all new converts, generation after generation after generation, to stumble. And so, understand that I don't hate Mormons, but you hate me because I point out the truth. You get very threatening. You literally want me dead, and would literally cheer and celebrate if you found out I got sick with the virus, or if I just died. Whether it be somebody's killing me, you'd probably reward that person for murdering me. That's how evil you guys are, and you don't see it. The YouTube employees think they're doing God's work by slowing down the processing of my videos, giving me grief over copyright claims when there are none. They think they're working for God, the true church. And instead, they're just religious bigots, full of hate and criminal activity.